threatened to use the military against opponents he calls enemies from within, who has threatened to use the troops to quell what he says are lawless cities and to use those troops to carry out mass deportations of immigrants, is once again turning Madison Square Garden into a staging ground for extremism. Joining me now, Ruth Ben-Ghiat, history professor at New York University and author of Strong Men, Mussolini to the Present. And Anne Applebaum, Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, staff writer at The Atlantic, and author of Autocracy, Inc., The Dictators Who Want to Run the World. I cannot wait to have this conversation with both of you. And Ruth, thank you both very much for being here. Ruth, since you are not at the table, let me start with you and just talk to us about the parallels that we're seeing between 1939, that rally at Madison Square Garden, and the rally we're seeing right now at Madison Square Garden, and the rhetoric.
Hey, welcome back. It's your man, Wise. So MSNBC just crossed the line comparing Trump's Madison Square Garden rally to a Nazi rally from 1939, even putting it side by side with Hitler. I mean, these people are out of their mind, but that just goes to show how desperate they actually are. I mean, this is not only outrageous, but it's flat out disrespectful, especially with Holocaust survivors and proud Jewish Americans standing there in support. This rally, it was packed with everyday Americans from all backgrounds, all walks of life, united with a shared belief of, not hate, but to label these people as Nazis just because of their political choice, that's just flat out wrong. MAGA is bringing people together across all walks of life. Tired of the media's labels and desperate narratives, though. People are sick and tired of it, and this MAGA movement is actually becoming an extremely diverse movement.
In Brooklyn, you said, this is pretty deep blue, right, in the city. That's probably why he hasn't had too many major rallies in New York City. He's been around when he's been here for court cases and the criminal trial. What do you think the crowd's going to be like today inside?
Everybody's excited, and I think it was really ridiculous that this is supposed to be a free country, and from the first time he was running, you didn't feel free to say that I support Trump. And especially as a black person, like, he's a racist. I said, well, I don't see any evidence of that,
Thank you for talking to me. Appreciate it. Have fun at the rally.
Oh, she nailed it. Trump isn't the villain the media tries to make him out to be. He listens and cares about what people from all walks of life have to say. The bigger media narrative, though, is that they just can't handle the truth. They just can't. They box Trump supporters in with every label they can think of, but more and more people, especially Black Americans and Hispanic Americans, are seeing through it. At this past New York rally, I was so surprised by how many, Black men were there, realizing that Trump's policies have impacted jobs, criminal justice reform, and standing up to the establishment. It's about people making their own choices, and there's a shift happening. Black men are unapologetically supporting President Donald Trump, calling out the real differences in the leadership. Check this guy out. He's telling it exactly like it is.
Put on for everybody, a white man, an upper man, or somebody that's out color.
Trump free Kodak.
Huh?
Why is Kodak out making music?
What was he arrested for? Does
Come
that
on.
matter?
Let's talk about
Is that important to
Who's
me?
she freed?
I said no important.
All right. Who's she locked up?
A lot of folks.
We're
out here today in New York City outside MSG ahead of this Trump rally. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you came out?
Support Trump, man. That's what I came to do.
Is there anything he says or does that really excites you as a voter?
Yeah, get the migrants up out of here.
Yeah. I know you guys are dealing with the migration crisis, specifically here in New York City. Can you speak a little bit to that issue and how you think Trump's going to solve it?
I can't. You know why I can't?
We need to have a deportation party.
Yeah.
We need that deportation party.
Yo, bro, my family are immigrants.
Yeah, my family is immigrants too.
Say that.
I'm half Colombian and Black.
You know what it is?
Yeah. If that's the case, I might as well walk my family across the border.
Yo, bro.
Yeah.
We
just walk them across the border.
We come to see Trump.
Absolutely. I want to ask because I know that's been the core part of the Trump issue. Can you speak a little bit more?
Your family being immigrants means absolutely nothing. And to be honest with you, none of us are against immigrants. We're against the illegal immigrants who come over here and they're not adding to society. They're coming over here and they are liabilities on the system right now. Let's just keep it a buck.
How that excites you as a voter. Why is this a top issue for you?
Oh, because you can't walk around New York City safely. You can't, bro. I got 2 kids, bro. They growing up in New York City, bro. Come on. You don't know where they come from, bro. They not even vetted.
He's absolutely right. And people are frustrated behind it. I mean, this dude right here, I mean, he's hitting the truth about what's actually going on, or telling the truth about what's going on in New York. And he's telling the truth that New Yorkers are facing right now. This isn't just about immigration. It's about priorities. People are crossing the border without proper vetting, being put up in hotels, given free phones, free housing, often in neighborhoods already struggling with crime and limited resources. Meanwhile, longtime local residents feel overlooked, and a lot of them are afraid. The crime, come on, man. I mean, the crime is a real issue, especially with some who cross the border having criminal records. They know this. There's been a certain amount of people, that have committed some heinous crimes. There's a percentage. Trump's stance, people love his stance. His stance is to secure the border and put Americans first. Yet the media labels that as racist. But let's take a look at how people actually feel about that one particular topic.
What's your reaction to people who call Trump a racist because he talks about wanting a strong border and stuff like that?
Not somebody that he was at the NAACP. He did mad shit with black people. Come on, bro. He not racist. Niggas don't like him. They're gonna be like that. That's regular.
Trump's been working hard at outreach to the black community. Among people, he gets something like 20% support from. What does he need to do or say to earn more support from the black community?
Nah, he got full support. 100%. People just scared to show it. But trust me, when they voting, that boy gonna win.
Do you get any pushback in your community for wearing the MAGA hat like that?
Nah, hell no. What?
Nobody gives you funny looks or anything?
Go sell it in the hood right now. I bet you everybody cop up.
I know Kamala Harris is his opponent. What do you think about Kamala Harris? If elected,
come to the hood.
She'd be the first.
She can't come to the hood, gang. Think about it. I'm in the South Bronx. She can't come to the South Bronx. Trump had a rally in the South Bronx at Crotona.
And he was at a barbershop in the Bronx.
He shut the Bronx down. He's shutting Queens. Come on, bro. They not having no rallies and doing what he does.
Why you think they only...
bro, point the camera over there, bro.
If she was elected, she'd be the first black female president. Is that important to you?
Her standing next to Vladimir Putin and motherfucking King.
I'm so tired of hearing that first black female. None of that stuff even matters, to be honest with you. It doesn't. It shouldn't matter either.
Them niggas ain't fucking hearing what she got to say, nigga. They going, what? Nigga, world leaders? They gonna eat that bitch alive.
Yo, the language didn't necessarily care for, but he's expressing himself, and I'm okay with that. I'm not a big fan of people using the N-word, black, white, or other. I don't care. Not my favorite word out there. I mean, I think there's better ways that we can express ourselves. But, hey, you can't disagree with what he's saying, though. You just can't. I mean, Trump did a lot for the black community, and it's not just talk. He even held a rally out in the South Bronx, one of the toughest areas in the country and one of the toughest areas to connect with, people, directly. But meanwhile, Kamala Harris, where is she? And what has she actually done for the black community in any capacity that she's, sat in? She was a senator for a minute, but when she was DA and attorney general, a lot of the things that she implemented did not help. Kelp brothers locked up. Jamal Truelove got a big bag off of the heinous acts of a Kamala Harris hiding and suppressing evidence that put that man and gave that man 50 years. He's out now and received $13 million behind it. So don't sit here and tell me that, oh, Kamala Harris is for the black community when she's actually put a lot of brothers in jail. She locked up the sister out there whose daughter, suffered from sickle cell anemia and had that lady arrested. I mean, this is ridiculous, man. Trump's support in the black community, it may be quiet, but it is real. There's a lot of brothers and sisters out here that are low-key supporting President Donald Trump. And, some of it is fear, kind of like the sister, mentioned earlier. Some people that still have a fear, of letting it be known who they support. And you know what? Who you support, that's your business anyway. But they see the impact of Trump's policies. That First Step Act, which released thousands of nonviolent offenders, a lot of them black men. The mainstream media, I mean, they label, and they pressure, but many supporters they do stay silent because mainstream media, they may try to put a target on your head. People fear maybe losing their jobs or something along those lines because they decided that, hey, we're going to put America first and we want to support a candidate that wants to put America first. And let's be real. People care about results, not just checking boxes. Trump isn't afraid to show up where he's needed and fight for the people. That's why more black men and folks from all backgrounds are rallying behind him at this point, and even CNN can't ignore it. Check this clip out.
There's a trend line that I never noticed before and make me go, whoa. This is one of them, all right? This is the Democratic margin among black men under the age of 45 in presidential elections. You go back to November of 2012, what do you see? You see Obama by 81. Clinton only won him by 63. Then we're all the way down to Biden last time around by 53. A tremendous drop already. And then you take a look at the average of the most recent polls, and Kamala Harris is up by only 41 points. That is about half the margin that Obama won them by back in November of 2012. And this, I think, is, you know, when Barack Obama goes in last week when he was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, essentially talking to young black men, he made it seem like it was a Kamala Harris specific problem. This is part of a long-standing trend of young black men moving away from the Democratic Party, and Kamala Harris is just the latest to face that magnitude of younger black men going towards the Republicans.
That was most interesting here is the trend line and where some of the biggest drops happened or already happened in this case. How about black men overall?
How about black men overall? It's part of the same picture, you know. We're looking once again at younger black men. It looks like the worst Democratic performance since 1960, since JFK versus Richard Nixon. It's the same thing among black men overall. Again, part of a similar trend, but here actually the drop-off isn't as dramatic, right? Barack Obama won him by 85. Then you see 71 with Clinton, 69. Biden, basically the same thing, holding steady. But here, again, very, very weak. Only a 54-point margin. Now, again, still winning them by a large margin, but considerably lower than what we're used to, certainly considerably lower what we had during the Obama years. The bottom line is Kamala Harris with younger black men and then black men overall putting in historically weak performance for a Democratic candidate.
Is she getting any relief with black women?
All right. So, you know, we're talking about the trend line, right? And black women, look, she's doing better with black women than she is doing among black men. But here, there isn't a trend line almost until we get to Kamala Harris. So, again, this is a black margin among black women. Look, Obama won him by 93, very large margin. Clinton won him by 93, a very large margin. Biden did a little bit worse at 85. But then you look here, and you get a 71-point margin. Now, again, these are large margins, but the bottom line is when you're talking about the base of the Democratic Party, you would think that Kamala Harris would do very well among black women based upon history. And, of course, she would be the first black woman president. But she's actually doing the worst for a Democratic candidate among black women since 1960, if this holds, John.
And, again, when you look at the numbers here, whenever you come in, looking at the trends is probably the most important thing.
You got it, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look at that. Trump going to mess around and get close to 30% of the black vote. And if that happens, it should be a landslide win for him. He's gaining voters or gaining black voters in a way that we haven't seen in decades for the Republican Party, for that matter. You know, even mainstream sources are acknowledging that he's pulling higher support among black voters than any other Republican since the 60s. But this is the fault of the Democrats. Kamala Harris is a weak candidate, for sure. But they've also been running the same playbook for, 60 years now? And people are fed up. And then y'all put in this faux black woman who's been Indian all her life until about 5 or 6 years ago. And all of a sudden she's black listening to Tupac in her dorm room when Pac was in middle school, living in Baltimore. I mean, come on, man. Like, there's nothing real about this lady and people are seeing through it. Now, you still have a large number of people who are falling for it, you know, but a lot of people are saying, nah, she ain't it. And the Democrats ain't it. And honestly, I mean, the polls might even be underreporting this situation. That very much could be the case. I'm seeing brothers wearing MAGA hats openly now. More and more people that I've run across are willing to tell you, hey, I'm supporting Trump this time around. And it has nothing to do with the stimulus check. It was about the fact that people had money in their pockets during the Trump administration pre-COVID. People remember, and people are struggling right now. Kamala, yes, she still has majority of the black voter support. She definitely still has that. But it's nothing like what it used to be. It's nowhere near as strong. And in fact, she's got less support from black women than any other candidate or any other Democratic candidate dating back to the 60s, which is a huge red flag for them, and they are starting to panic because they know what's at stake.
Polling. Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance with black voters since Richard Nixon back in 1960, not 68, since 1960. That's 64 years ago. Among Hispanic voters, Donald Trump's going to put up the best performance for Republicans since 2004 and George W. Bush.
Since Richard Nixon. And a lot of folks didn't like old Tricky Dick, you know, and they are shook. And no wonder they're doubling down on the race card. No wonder they're really going in about Trump being, you know, Hitler and all this other kind of stuff. I mean, no wonder. Think about that, man. They called a rally filled with love, unity, and genuine energy a Nazi rally. I mean, come on, man. Does this look like a daggone Nazi rally to you? I mean, check this out, man. Like a Nazi rally to you? Like, come on, man. You got a sister here dancing with the American flag, and they're calling this a Nazi rally. This is the face. That's the face of the new Nazi party. A sister with with the stars and bars dancing around. Like, come on, man. These people are outrageous. That lets you know that they're grasping for straws, and this is what they're afraid of. They see the movement growing, the energy, the joy, the people coming together for something bigger than themselves, even in places they thought they had locked down, and it's got them in panic mode. Think about this, man. The MAGA movement is now the diverse movement, an extremely diverse movement, and it's filled with love, not only for Americans, but for this country. You can see it. It's real people standing up, having a good time, and fighting for what they believe in. The establishment is trying everything that they can to tear it down, but it's not working. People are seeing through the noise and are ready for change. But I want to hear from you guys. Are you seeing this shift in your community? If you hadn't gone out to vote already, please make sure that you do so. Early voting's already kicked off around here where I live at, man. The line was crazy. I'm glad I was able to get it out and get it done, you know, and get there and do my part. Get out there and do that, man. Consider joining the ARP family. Make sure you like this video, share this video with whoever needs to see this. Keep God first in your life. Stay prayed up, and we'll catch up with you all next time. Peace.